This week I'd like to welcome Dave Bregman, manager of the Arizona Javelinas, to join us here at Cajun headquarters. Dave, thanks for coming down. Good to see you.
Thanks, Rob. It's a pleasure to be here.
Don said I should ask what it's like to be a team manager coming from a busboy at Stuckey's. So what's it like to achieve this height in your career?
Well, it was tough. It was tough. It was a long climb up the ladder, but, you start as a busboy, you work your way up to washing dishes, then the fry station, and then league manager.
So coming into this week, your only victory was over the wives. Do you feel bad at all having to slap Don's wife around a little bit just to put a notch on your belt?
Well, this wouldn't be the first time I've slapped Don's wife around. So, you know what? Catherine's a good kid. I like her a lot. She's used to it. I mean, she's abused by Don constantly, and being abused by me probably isn't all that different, except I'm possibly a little gentler.
Do you think she enjoys it more being slapped around by you than Don?
Well, I think Catherine enjoys being slapped around by strangers in general.
Well, the wives came close to surprising the Lions, falling 122 to 114.
So the Lions have looked unbeatable this season, coming into the week averaging 117 points per game. But the wives have exposed their soft underbelly. So Dave, have you ever experienced Randy's soft underbelly?
No, I can't say I have experienced personally, but Randy's team is tough. It's just a tough team, and it seems hard to believe that the wives who are way down towards the bottom could actually pull off a win.
Do you think that Catherine's pregnancy helps her or hurts her managing her team?
Well, all the hormones coursing through her body, it's hard to say. She's probably abusing the children and the animals and Don and everyone. So I don't know. I'm probably not really the best person to ask that.
So Dave, do you think there's possibly a more annoying team manager than Dan Wedding?
Well, Dan isn't an annoying human being in general. So him being an annoying manager is just pretty much par for the course, I would say. Don and Dan are brothers, and they've always been very close. So, I'm sure Dan gets a lot of his annoying factors from Don. So it's not really a shock that Dan is the way he is. But this year, Dan's got a team where he can be annoying.
So how close are Don and Dan?
Very close. As close as brothers can be, I would have to say.
That sounds like too close.
Probably. I'm not one to judge, but let's say that you're probably correct with that.
Dan lost this week to the Volcanoes, another wedding loss to a girl.
So you play the Volcanoes in Week 7, and Susie's proven herself to be more than just a pretty face. She's also a pretty scrappy competitor. Do you think there's going to be domestic violence at home?
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be. There was domestic violence to get her into the league. There's domestic violence to get her to set up her team every week. Domestic violence is a pretty common thing around the house. Primarily what we do is we leather strap our wrists together and we throw a knife in the middle of the floor. And whoever comes out with the least number of injuries is the winner. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be lots of domestic violence when we have to play each other's teams.
So we finally heard from Johnny D this week, which eliminates the rumor that he was co-piloting Steve Fawcett's plane. I guess the question for you is, are you happy to see Johnny out in the open, or would you rather see him get back in the closet?
I would be happy if Johnny would have left some more bye players on his team this week. You can always take advantage of people who don't log in, or maybe say don't know that a game was canceled because of a hurricane. But unfortunately, this week it looked like he logged in. He put up a good team,
and Dave, it looks like you beat Johnny 103 to 84.
So despite the fact that we have a 14-week season, it turns out that the Javelinas don't get to play the Cajuns this year. So are you disappointed for not being able to bring all the guys down to New Orleans and play us this year?
Well, it's always disappointing to not go to New Orleans. Anyone who's been down there knows that there's tremendous fun to be had in New Orleans. So yes, I mean, this is a typical Don Wedding league manager stuff where he's manipulating the league in order to make himself look good, and unfortunately the rest of us just have to suffer through it, and that's why we're not playing down there.
Here in the Selfish Division, Milan's Dukes lost to the Rednecks 182.
So there's a rumor that Don has pictures of Milan in a hot tub with Kimbo Slice. Do you think that's why Milan's been so passive this year?
Possibly. I mean, it is a rumor. You can never really be sure what's really going on. It would certainly explain a lot if Don had those pictures.
The Bellies struggled to score this week, losing to the Dogs 70 to 43.
It's been a tough week for the Bellies. They weren't able to muster 50 points this week. Any advice for Jim?
Give it up, Jim. Just give it up last week. Okay, we all know we're here to humiliate Don, and if you can't humiliate Don, I think maybe you should, get another team. Do something. Hire girls. Something that'll get you the points that you need to make Don not want you in the league next year.
And finally, the Cajuns shocked the Kangaroos, overcoming a 32-point handicap, winning 111-99.
How do you think he's taking losing to a 1-3 team like the Cajuns this week?
I think this just proves that when Don is forced to pick a team from random and not engineer something over the course of many, many years, it just shows you that he's really no better than any of the rest of us.
So the Kangaroos are keeping Ricky Williams on the roster despite the fact that he's an avowed drug abuser. Do you think that sends a good message to Don's kids to have a drug abuser on his football team?
It doesn't shock me that Don has a drug abuser on his team, and the message it sends to his kids is to win at all costs.
So, Dave, one of the questions that I've had in my mind for the last several weeks is what's going on between you and Carson Palmer? I mean, you play the guy week in, week out. He either doesn't contribute or at best he scores 0 points. And then this week you set him on the bench and he punishes you by posting 16 points from the bench. What's up between you two?
Okay, he disappointed me the first several games of this season, and posting 0 or -1 points, and so I finally had to take him out, and of course, dancing between the raindrops, now he scores 16 points, and I just don't even know what to do. It's really, I play him to rub Don's nose in it.
Well, so that's all for this week. I'd like to take a moment and thank Dave for coming down and visiting with us here in New Orleans at Cajun headquarters. Dave, thank you. You're a lot better looking than a lot of people have said you are. So
well, thanks a lot, Rob. It was a real pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Hope to see you soon.
Definitely.
See you all next week.